Alrighty, well, hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I'm super excited that you all are here. This is going to be a fun one because what I'm going to show you here, I don't think I've ever seen anyone make a video on. So we're actually going to do a step-by-step walkthrough. I know I called it like over the shoulder. Of course, there's not a camera behind me. There's one right here, but I'm going to show you my screen here in a second. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a city, and then I'm going to show you how to find a realtor and a loan officer, the emails and texts that you want to send to them, and then we'll set up a Google Drive. So basically the beginning parts of qualifying. So I think it's going to be super good. But if you can hear everything okay, give me like a thumbs up or just say, hey, I can hear you. But looks like we got Renee, we have 24 writer, J Elise, let's see, ASLS2884. We got Mike in here, Fab Ladybug. Welcome everyone. Vish Roots, JZ, Anthony Gardner. Awesome. Desmond. Cool. I don't think I'm missing one. Sam. Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. Rochelle, Sharwin. Wonderful. Ray. Lovely. You all can hear me. Cool. So this is going to be a fun one. So I've had several people who like texted me or commented a city. What I think we're going to do is we're going to pick Jacksonville, Florida first. And if we have time, we'll do Oakdale, California. And then at the very end, we'll switch to like a general Q&A. So while you're here, try to keep your questions geared a little bit towards what we're doing. That way, you know, if I miss a step or something like that, or I wasn't clear on something, ask a question to help me clarify there, and then we'll do general questions at the very end. Cool. Sound good? Is everyone good with that? Cool. So we are going to jump into this here. I've got so much stuff going up on my screen. All right, let me switch over to my screen. Now, last time I did this, I had an intense audio loop. So if that happens again, let me know. Live streaming is still a little bit new to me, trying to get everything worked out here. So one quick note before we dive into this, up here in the top somewhere, where's my hand? Somewhere up there, you can see you can text hashtag waitlist to my cell number here. And what that would do is put you on a waitlist for the Calm Buying Planner when it goes out. And this is basically going to do all this stuff that we're talking about here today in a more streamlined format. So it's going to be like a whole checklist for you that's pre-filled out. It's going to help you compare loans side by side. So I'm working on developing that right now and putting it out. So if you want to sign up for that list, you can go ahead and do that. And then I'll send out a discount code to everybody when that is live. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So here on the left, this is going to kind of be a timeline of what we're doing today. And then here on the right, this is where we're going to be doing our actual home buying research. So let's talk about a quick intro to what I'm using here, because this could be helpful as you go through the home buying process. So this is called Notion. It's very similar to like Evernote or anything like that. It's free. Like you can go to, I think it's notion.so.com. Oh, of course, it has me logged in. Okay, hold on. Yeah, if you want to, you can download this. You can just do this in Notes on your phone or something like that. But that's what I'm using right now. And what I'd like to do whenever I'm doing any sort of like project, I like to put everything down on paper or write it down in a note somewhere so that you can actually construct a plan going forward and see the decisions that you made in the past. That's going to really help with your home buying process here. So we had Dimitri texted in. He said Jacksonville. Brittany said Florida. I'm sorry, Brittany said Jacksonville as well. So we're going to go with Jacksonville. And then Joseph also suggested Oakdale here. So that's our quick intro to Notion. Now, when should you start this process? Okay, because we're talking about finding a realtor, finding a loan officer, and actually getting the ball rolling on making things happen with starting the home buying process. So ideally, you starting here should be first, if you had that conversation with your family, first of all, about why are you wanting to move? Is moving a luxury for you, or is moving something that you need to do because of a job or because some other need for relocation? Also, are you set up with your budget? Do you have high interest debt paid off? Do you have your emergency fund saved up? Do you have money ready to go to purchase a home? You need to be at that spot where you're saying, I'm pretty much ready, both emotionally and financially. The only thing that I really need to do is get a team around me to start things moving, okay? Because once we start getting these two key players on our team, a loan officer and a realtor, things are going to move fast. So if you're not ready, especially emotionally, you can get kind of swept into the stream a little bit quicker than you might want to, right? I think a good analogy was like if you saw like a river, this is an abstract analogy. If you saw a river, you dip your toe in the water. But then you realize that's actually going a lot faster. Those currents are going a lot faster than you imagine. All of a sudden, you end up renting it off around a house and thinking, oh, maybe I wasn't ready to do this quite yet. So make sure that you're at that point before you actually start that or start this process. But it's always good to just get an overview of what's happening. So let's do it. Let's go ahead and start finding a real estate agent. So we're going to use two sources first. We're going to use Zillow and Google first to take a look here. So what I'm going to do in my notes is I'm just going to put real estate agent, okay? That way I can start writing some notes about the agents that we find. We're going to do Jacksonville, Florida again. So we're going to go to Zillow. And Zillow has this cool little feature called Agent Finder. And so once we're here, we can type in Jacksonville, Florida. Cool. So we can see all of these agents here with Zillow that are in Jacksonville, Florida. And this is where we can start beginning to narrow down a little bit of what we're working for. And there's no right or wrong answer on what you're looking for with an agent, right? Some people prefer to work with maybe a male or a female realtor. Some people prefer to work with an individual or a team. You're not going to find necessarily quantifiable benefits on what you're choosing here. It really just up to what you're comfortable with. I've often had clients who have said, hey, I would actually like somebody who is a non-white realtor. And that's perfectly okay if you feel more comfortable going that route. So find what's going to be comfortable for you. That's going to help you narrow down this choice here. But what we're mainly looking for here is we're looking for some solid reviews of realtors who feel like we feel like they've been established and they're going to help us well through this process. Okay, so we can sort here by most active, most recent sales, best local reviews, most listings. What I think we're going to do right now is sort by local reviews. Because this most active is probably not actually true. Zillow right now is most likely sorting based on what realtors probably pay the most to be shown in Zillow. So let's actually sort by local ratings here. And that's going to give us a really solid idea. So we can see these people already at the top have tons and tons of reviews. And we'll click in here in a second. Maybe we can narrow this down to buying a home. So we can maybe specialize more in realtors who are mainly helping on the purchase side instead of maybe just the selling side. Because sometimes you can run into agents who just like to do listings, and we don't necessarily want to reach out to them because if they're just interested in listings, they might not be as willing to help us through the process. So from here, we can go some advanced, I don't think we need any of these specialties here. We're going to stick to English, but obviously if you're looking for another preferred language, you can put that in here. And again, we don't need to specify a home type or purchase price. That's not going to be really agent dependent here. Okay, let's skip the featured agents. These are people who pay to be at these top spots. Doesn't mean they're bad. They could be really good options, but we're just going to try to skip as much bias on Zillow's part as possible. So awesome. Here's at the top of our list, DJ and Lindsay. Okay, we're going to open that up in another page. Come back to that in a second. Let's do Momentum Realty and Root Realty. Already I can see these are all teams, not necessarily individuals. And we can see here's a team, here's a team, 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 team. Here's an individual. All right, let's click on Joseph and a team as well. Again, having a team's not necessarily wrong. It's not bad. But again, it just comes down to what are you most comfortable with here. So DJ and Lindsay, we'll take a look here. So we can see here's their team that they have. Most likely what would end up happening is if we reach out to them, we'll probably end up working with one of their team members, especially because they have 60. So all of these reviews are actually a compilation of all of these other individuals here. Okay, so again, not a bad thing. It's just a different approach that we just want to be mindful of. We don't want to reach out to them and assume that we're going to be working with them necessarily. We can kind of read descriptions, see maybe a general vibe of what they have going on here. Now, I, you know, I would prefer working with an individual, an established individual, rather than a team. So maybe we'll keep them kind of running in the back pocket just for a sec. Momentum Realty, see they have tons of team members. So let's go ahead and skip them. Not a ton, but a good amount of team members. We're just going to skip. Okay, so Joseph here. This is an individual, 21 years of experience. So we know that we're going to be working with Joseph if we reach out to Joseph. So that way I feel like I'm not going to reach out to somebody who I think I have an idea of and then get passed on to somebody else. Okay. Jacksonville, Florida. Interesting. So he works in New York and Florida. That's a very interesting thing. I definitely want to ask some questions about that, but it looks like most of these sales that he's done recently are in Jacksonville. So it looks like most of what he's been doing is in Jacksonville. And we can see he's a pretty busy guy. So he's done 2 in December already. Let's see, 3 in November, 4, 5 in November, hovering kind of around the $200,000 to $300,000 range. So I like Joseph so far. I like his reviews. I like his profile. Let's see what other website information he has. So we're going to go to his website and his Facebook info. Website's kind of bland, doesn't really tell me anything. So let's see, about me, no. Now this all looks kind of boilerplate stuff. We're going to skip on the website here. Let's see what we got on Facebook. And nothing too crazy on Facebook, which is fine. You know, we don't need a realtor to like be a social media guru, right? And you know, arguably the ones who are super flashy on social media may not be. You may not be spending all their time on the real estate side if you're spending so much time on the marketing side. Obviously, that's not true for everybody, but we don't need somebody to have these huge profiles everywhere we go. But it's just interesting to see what information we can kind of pick up. So we're going to select Joseph here as one of the realtors we're going to reach out to, and we'll select one more as well, just so we can kind of interview at least 2 and see who's out there. And I like that he's got a little dog here. So we'll see. Oh, did I just click out of his information? Dang it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to copy his info in here. All right. So we got cell phone, which is awesome. So we know that we can text. Let's see, do we have an email address? Now, one thing I want you to be really, really careful of when you're looking at something like Zillow is I don't want you to fill out this form, okay? And the reason why is because when you fill out this form, your data gets pushed into Zillow's database, right? And that information can now be sold. And what can end up happening is you can be reached by multiple other people and get solicited with your information, because Zillow has all this stuff for free because they sell information. So I would suggest not filling out this information here. We can, if we can't find his email here, we can go back to his website and Facebook and see if that's actually exists over here. There it is. So we're going to copy email address. Cool. And I'm just going to write some, maybe some things that, like, why did I pick Joseph? This is, I think, critical in the home buying process, is validating your decisions, writing them down. This is why we have this whole note here, is so we can go back and say, like, why did we choose this? What are some pluses that we saw here? So we're going to say individual agent. And can you all see that? Is that text? Let me know if that text is too small and I'll make everything a little bit bigger here. So sells quite a bit in the Jacksonville market. Friendly profile image. Obviously we'll have to see more about like his demeanor, reaching out to him, but this is kind of what we're just gleaning information from online. So these are some pros in my book, and also has what did he say? Was it 20 years of experience? 21 years of experience. Cool. And then one final thing that I want to maybe ask him a question about is, where's the little warning thing? There it is. I want to ask a question about Florida versus New York market. Like his profile says something about New York in there too. I want to make sure that, you know, if I'm looking for a home in Jacksonville, that I'm working with an agent in Jacksonville who can help me out and isn't kind of switching back and forth between states. Okay, so is everyone following me? Give me a thumbs up here in the chat if you're following me, if everything looks good. We're going to move on to another realtor unless anybody has some questions. And yes, I can make this text bigger here. That might be a little bit better to see for you. Cool. Let's move on to another agent. And let's stick to an individual here. Kevin, you said thumbs up, awesome. EJ, thumbs up, wonderful, thank you. Brittany, thumbs up, awesome. Cool, so let's kind of stick to our theme of individual agents. I think that's going to be better for us than maybe going with a team. You know, and again, you know, I want to reiterate, teams aren't bad. I hate the idea of like, I don't want to do this research, reach out to a team, and then I get passed to somebody else. Which, you know, you can have teams who operate really well. Obviously these teams do well. They have tons of great reviews. I just want, you know, a little bit more ability to do some research up front. So Sandy Miller, cool. So she's got 21 years of experience as well. Let's see. 5-star reviews, 261 reviews, 83 sales in the past 12 months. Okay. I'm just kind of speed reading this here. Oh, she was in the Navy. Huh, I've not seen a lot of agents do this where they kind of list a lot of the education that they have. I think that's cool. Ranked top 15 amongst realtors in Jacksonville. Cool. And yeah, she sells a lot too. We got 5 in December. Let's see, 5, 10, 12, 12 in November. She's kind of hovering also around the 250 to 300,000 range on average. Oh, and she responds to reviews. That's fantastic. Most agents just they get reviews and they don't respond to them. And so what this tells me, especially look at how quick this was. You know, she responded today to this one. Is that if she's replying to reviews, then that most likely means she also replies to text messages, right? I can't tell you the amount of people who are like, I've reached out to my loan officer and realtor and I haven't heard back from them. And they're like active clients. So the fact that these people have already closed on a home and she's still communicating with them is a huge plus in my book. So we're going to rate, we're definitely going to put Sandy down here as our second realtor. Okay. And I'm going to copy some of these kind of pros. So she sells a bit. She does have 21 years of experience, which is awesome. What were some other pros that we had in here? Responds to reviews. And then only in Jacksonville from the looks of it. Compared to Joseph, looked like he also did some stuff in New York. So again, you know, we have a question about that, which we'll end up asking him here in just a bit. So awesome. So I think those are really two solid realtor lookups from Zillow. Let me know in the comments here if you have any questions about that. We're going to hop over to Google. Okay, and since I'm getting a good feeling about both of these two, I'm not going to take anybody's information from Google unless I feel like they might be solid for us. Oh, I forgot. I need to grab cell phone number. and email. Let's see if we can get an email from our website. Now, something that you'll notice here is I'm not making any notes of oh, thanks for catching that, Anthony. I appreciate it. I made a double entry here. There we go. Something you'll note is I didn't write down who their company is because it doesn't matter. I've rarely seen like the company matter. Agents effectively almost act as like their own companies. Their company just tends to represent them and maybe has some different marketing material and stuff like that. The company really just does not matter that much, and so I don't care. It's not important in my research process. I'm not going to say I want one agent from one particular company here. Okay, and I'm going to make these a little bit easier to see. Cool. How are we looking? Is this all making sense? Is this helpful? Is this new information? Or like is this older information? Give me some feedback here on how this is doing for you. And yes, this is going to be recorded and it will stay up, so you'll be able to access this a bit later if you'd like to. Cool. Anthony said good stuff. One bright light, very helpful. Awesome. So we're going to hop over to Google. Now, something that's going to be a little bit difficult here is since Google reads location data, they might show me some different results than if you're actually based in Jacksonville, because I'm in Dayton, Ohio. So all I can do really is just search for Jacksonville, Florida realtor. Okay. Now this is new, this Google screen thing. I'm actually not familiar with this. This must be a new Google feature. What does it say? Select local businesses. Ah, these are ads. Okay. Oh, it's funny. Google says, we vetted these people. In reality, they paid to be in these spots, which, they could be good realtors. We're just going to skip the ads because those have some bias to them. So, we're going to look at more real estate agents. Okay, and again, these are ads up here. Man, Google's really changed around their this a little bit. Expert home advisors. This is a team. It doesn't really give us information about a specific individual, which we don't want. Samantha Thomas. Is that a company or an individual? The hard part with Google reviews is you just don't get as much information as you might with Zillow. And Shells, Mike, you asked about using a friend or family member. I think that can be a great option. We'll talk about here in just a second. Cool. I'll add that and we'll talk about it here in just a bit. Yeah, none of the, we got 2 reviews here, so we're just going to skip out on the Google reviews. Not crazy effective or helpful for us right now. Okay, so then what we can do is we can actually move on to a friend who recently bought. So, so for instance, let's say I had a friend of mine whose name was, I don't know, Jack Smith. And let's say he recently bought. What we're going to do is we're going to reach out to him and ask him about his realtor. So what we need is a realtor recommendation from Jack. And after we get that recommendation, we can do the same thing. We can go look them up online and maybe see if we're going to throw them into the mix or not. And literally all I would say to Jack is maybe I shoot him a text and say, and just for reference, like when I talk about doing these templates, I'm not going to actually email or text these people because that would be a waste of their time. But I'm going to show you like some templates of what I would send to them that you can just kind of copy and paste into what you're doing. So I'll say, hey Jack, Step. Cool. That's what I would send, and see what he responds back, and then we'll go look him up and see if we can throw him in here. We're just gonna assume that we did this, and maybe the recommendation just wasn't solid, or he said it was an okay experience, or maybe he had a bad experience. We're gonna stick to these two agents for right now. Okay. All right, so now let's talk about friend or family who is a realtor. So if you have a friend or family who is a realtor, then that's perfectly okay, but you can just do the same stuff here. Now, maybe they're a little bit newer in the process, and I think that's fine. Just know that if you are using somebody who's newer in the process, they can still do a fantastic job for you, right? Like, people gave me a lot of grace in the beginning when I'm starting out as a loan officer. Didn't just like reject working with me because I didn't have reviews or an online profile or something like that. You just make sure that you're asking a little bit more questions, asking things. Don't assume things when working with somebody who's a little bit newer. You really want to dig into some of those questions and make sure that you're understanding everything as you would expect to. Okay. Awesome. So I think these are going to be two really solid selections for our agents, and we'll reach out to both and let them know, hey, we're interviewing realtors, and we'll get to that here in a sec. So now let's do loan officers, and we're going to do 3. Okay. So up here we did 2. We don't need to interview a bunch of realtors, but I think it's going to be a good idea to get 3 quotes. And here's what I recommend, I recommend reaching out to a credit union, and I'm going to actually go back here, local credit union. We're going to go local, local-ish, I'll explain that here in a second, not fish, local-ish, stop it, autocorrect, come on, what in the world? Local-ish, mortgage broker, and a bank or direct lender. Okay, so local credit union, local-ish mortgage broker. What that means is, mortgage brokers, or most lenders for that instance, tend to work in states as opposed to just local areas. Like a realtor works in a hyper-local market, where lenders, loan officers work in states. They have the capacity to work in the entire state. So when we talk about finding a local mortgage broker, the net for who we're searching for doesn't have to be in the specific city of Jacksonville. We can actually look in all of Florida, and that opens it up so we can potentially see maybe better people. Maybe there's a higher chance of having a better loan officer in all of Florida than just specifically in Jacksonville. Okay, and then bank direct lender, we'll talk about those suggestions here in a sec. So local credit union, the best place to look for this is we can actually search for this in this is my Google or my Zillow profile. Well, there used to be a lender section. Find a lender, Zillow. I thought it was going to be easier. There we go, lender directory. Okay, so this is Dayton, Ohio. I want Jacksonville, Florida. And what's really interesting is Zillow gives us not a ton of information here. We can choose language, and that's about it. Okay, and again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to try to err on the side of working with an individual who we can do some research on than just a company. Now, obviously, an individual works for a company, but we want to find the information on the specific individual that we're working with because we want somebody who's going to help us through the process. So we're going to skip out on all of these. And as we're looking through here, we're probably going to run into some direct lenders, some credit unions, and some brokers, and I'll kind of help you navigate what that looks like here. And the reason why we are doing, we're looking at these 3 instead of, the reason we want to look at the types of lenders we're working with is because if we get a quote from each different type of lender, then that's going to give us a really wide spread of different loan programs that are available to you, because these are 3 different types of lending structures. And that's going to affect how pricing looks, how costs look, and how they function as a company. And one isn't better than the other. We just want to see kind of a general spread of what that looks like here. Okay, so let's just kind of click on some profiles. That's just a lot of this job. These are all guys. Let's add in some females in the mix too. So Edward, 300 reviews. Dang, that's crazy. So in Jacksonville, which is great. Just kind of skimming. All right, so we got really solid reviews. The cool thing about Zillow is it does show us some interesting things about the people who purchased, not just the loan or not just the review itself, but we can see, was it a purchase? Did they close on time? Fees, closing cost, interest rate, and these are all up to the perception of the client here. But we can see as expected, closed on time, great. Lower than expected, closed on time. Closed on time is super important here. We want to make sure we actually make it to the closing table. So I think this is good. I'm just going to hold this here for a second. Okay. All right, so here's another good sign. We got Aaron replying to reviews. That's fantastic. Okay, a couple higher than expecteds on cost. And again, that's all about perception. It doesn't necessarily mean it's more costly. Maybe Edward did a better job explaining the costs than Aaron did. Okay, so let's see. He's been doing it since 1997. Did we see how long he's been doing it? Maybe I'm missing it. Okay, we're gonna come back to these two in a second. I swear I've seen this guy on YouTube before. How do I know this guy? I think I've seen his face before. Okay. He has a lot less reviews. I mean, still a ton of reviews, but we're just going to skip on that. The other ones look a little bit more promising here. Can you sort by rating low to high? I don't know if you can. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, wait, customer rating. Looks like you can do that here. Although it's not showing us the full amount of information, right? We have like 300 reviews here with a 4.98. Okay, I guess these are 5.0. 0.02 difference. We can kind of come back here in a second. The other ones have more reviews, so we're just going to skip out. And then let's look at, we have two women here. Let's see. So Kara is a broker. And the reason that I know that is she says having multiple lenders allows us to offer the best rate available. So she works with multiple lenders. So she could be a broker option for us. Also, credit score is down to 500 for FHA and VA. Looks like there's some potential down payment assistance. So right off the bat, what's interesting about Kara, and she replies to reviews, which is great. So the interesting thing about Kara is that she's showing us right up front some examples of programs that she has available. What's really nice about this is, these two guys haven't done that, which is, again, not a bad thing here. But what I like about Kara is that she's showing you the information up front. So if she's already doing that in her about section, my anticipation is that her transparency is going to be really high as you move forward through the process with her. So we're going to add Kara down here as the broker that we reach out to. And you can kind of see that this process is really just a lot of a gut feeling thing. You kind of want to expose yourself to several people. That sounds bad. Don't do that. You want to just kind of see a wide range of what's out there and then start to pick up on some things that could lead you to an idea of what these people are like. And obviously anybody can create an image online, and we still have to talk with them, but we want to do our best work up front to see how we can kind of narrow that process down a little bit here. So let's see, let's copy your cell number over here. Let's see if we can grab an email too. Mortgage broker, hey, there we go. So it looks like we can apply on her website. Email. Oh, is it gonna open my email? Oh, I hate when it does that. Copy address. Oh my goodness, I haven't opened up this mail application in so long. No, don't save. Just go away. Cool. There is our broker. Let's kind of put in some pros again. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Copy. Paste. Okay, so some pros is transparency, responds to reviews. What else should we have? Okay. Let's see, did we have anything else in here that we were thinking was going to be solid? Virtual closings is a really nice thing, especially with COVID here. Okay, let's take a look at the website as well. Something interesting about loan officers is you can actually begin the process right now, like with a loan officer, without actually talking to them. So we're going to put that as a plus here, that we can apply online. So we don't even have to talk with her before we apply. Let's take a look at what this looks like. Cool. This is Blink. I've used Blink before, so this is going to be a nice application portal here if we wanted to go ahead and fill this out. So something we could do is fill this out and then reach out to her if we wanted to. She's got plants in the background, which I'm a little biased of. I think this is just a company page. I'm not too interested in it. It's taking a while to load. Okay, next. Cool, so we have our mortgage broker here. Now let's see if we can find a credit union or bank or direct lender. So finding the difference between these two can sometimes be a little bit more difficult. And since we already have two guys with solid reviews, we're going to skip out on that. Oh, it looks like, so Melissa works for that same company. So, you know, if we reached out to Melissa and Kara, we'd probably get the same exact type of quote. So we're going to go ahead and skip out on Melissa just because she works for the same company here. Let's see, Bayway Mortgage. Try to figure out what company this is. Okay, we got an ugly website. That's okay. Try and see if I can get some more information about what type of company this is. It's really hard to tell what this is. If it's I imagine this is probably a brokerage. So we're going to go ahead and skip out here. Okay, Truist Bank. We got Robert. Yeah, and Jay-Z just said choosing the right lender is a... Can I add this in here? There we go. It's got my face over top of it. Yeah, choosing a lender is a big deal. The processor had to reach out to us because she wasn't getting the documentation. We already provided the lender. We're so over it. Yeah, choosing a lender is a huge deal. That's why we want to do the research, and we're still gonna have to talk with these people and kind of do some vetting process in here. So, Truist Bank. This has got to be a bank, which is going to fit into our bank direct lender category. So super high reviews, 108 5-star reviews. That's solid in my book. So he's been doing this for 31 years. Awesome. I already know we're going to put Robert in our bank category. It'd be super interesting to see, I imagine none of these people are actually watching this video, but it'd be very interesting to see if one of these people was watching this video at some point. Alright, so we got some reviews here. Replies to some reviews. Cool. So we'll grab his email in just a sec. Let's do 31 years of experience. Something interesting that he notes in here is about evaluates your overall financial plan, uses mortgage financing as a tool to assist you in reaching your long-term goals. I would be interested to see if he does he has some loan calculators that can help you figure out a little bit more of structuring your loan correctly. That could be a really interesting thing for us to look at here. So. There is our email. Awesome. And we can apply online too, which is great. Oh, why is my copy and paste all weird? What in the world? Copy? Paste, there we go. Online application. And let's take a look at this real quick. Normally banks have pretty rough applications. Oh no, this is nice. So this uses Blend. You can tell by this logo here in the bottom. Blend is a fantastic company that like mortgage technology company that helps you kind of manage the process digitally. Like you can do e-signing and uploading documents and helps you track the process. So cool. That's a really solid portal. That's a good plus in my book, to ease that process a little bit here. Okay, local credit union. What we're going to do for this is instead of Zillow, we're going to try to use Google and see what we can find here. Looks like, okay, so you said Navy Federal just started using Blend about a year ago. So do you have firsthand experience using it? If so, let me know. I'd be interested to see that there. What were we looking at? Oh. Jacksonville, Florida. Credit Union mortgage. And again, we're going to skip the ads here. So the first result we see is Jacksonville Federal Credit Union. So, okay, so we got some originators here. Just kind of, I know I'm scrolling through here fast. Basically what I'm doing is just trying to see if there's anything that stands out to me. There's nothing really specific that I'm looking for here. So they have a no closing cost mortgage. Interesting, no PMI, 100% financing. $20 down. A cap of $5,000 closing costs. Interesting, interesting. So we need a 640 to work with them. Huh. Okay, so this could be an interesting one for us. So before I pick a loan officer to work with, let me just put in here, we do have that 100% financing option in there, which could be interesting. Let's see. So it looks like it's not going to tell us much about any of these people. What we can do is we can actually Google their name and see if we get anything that pops up review-wise. So nothing there. Let's try Rob Patterson. Nope, not the actor. Rob Patterson. That's a real estate agent. Ramesh Patel. Nope. None of them have reviews here, which is fine. It'd be nice to have reviews, but we can kind of choose any of these. So let's go with Lori. Oops. We will add Lori in here. Okay, and Brittany said good local Jack's credit unions are ViStar or Community First Credit Union. We'll take a look at those here in just a sec. Something interesting about this is, can I even apply online? I don't see an apply option here. Oh wait, there it is. It's kind of hidden. Online mortgage application. This looks a little old school. Yeah, looks like we can't get an email here. The only option to contact is by phone, and I'm guessing it's probably not going to be a cell number here. So, which again, I know I've said this a few times, isn't a bad thing. It's just something that we want to keep in mind here is no email possible. And texting is not like a critical thing necessarily, but it's nice to be able to have that level of contact with a loan officer if you need it. You know, you don't, at least I don't want to always have to sit and call somebody or go through an email or something. So, you know, I like the ability to text. Maybe you prefer to kind of do it a little bit more old school, and if so, that's okay. But we will go ahead and fill these up. We have all of these locked and loaded. So we've got 2 real estate agents. We asked our friend, I'll put that in here, our friend about his recommendation. I'm going to say he came back and said, wouldn't recommend. But if he did, then we're going to look up that person, throw them in the mix here. We have 3 loan officers, local credit union, local-ish mortgage broker. And Kara was actually in Jacksonville, but she could have been anywhere in Florida, and that would have worked for us. And then bank direct lender, we're going to reach out to Robert here. Okay, so before we get on to the questions that we're going to ask, how are we doing? Is everyone feeling good? Is this making sense? Right? Are we on the right? Let me know. Are we on the right track? Are we not on the right track? And then, you know, I'm going to speed up kind of the rest of this. I know we've been at this for 50 minutes. So let's get on to the actual templates that we're going to talk about when we reach out to everyone here. Cool. James said, yeah, awesome. Brittany, thumbs up. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad y'all are still here sticking with me. I know this isn't the most exciting topic, but haven't really seen any other videos like actually detailing this step by step and what you would do. And obviously when you're doing this on your own, it's going to be a lot quicker. It's not going to take you an hour to do this, but we're going to explain the process a little bit so you can feel more comfortable entering into this stage of home buying. So let's talk about talking to our real estate agent. We're going to set up an email and text templates. All right. And again, I'm not going to actually reach out to these people because they're going to be like, who in the world are you? Why are you reaching out to me? Probably not. They're probably not that rude. But we're just going to do some simple email things so you can just kind of copy and paste, fill in your own information. That way you don't have to have the anxiety of like, what do I say when I reach out to these people? So real estate agent, and we're also going to do this for our loan officer. Okay. Let's start off with a text. That's going to be the easiest one. So text. We're going to say hi, first name. Cool. That's all we gotta say. Nothing crazy. So, hi, we'll put in the person's name. This is Kyle. I've been looking to buy a home soon. Just saw your profile online. Just sent you an email with a bit more of what I'm looking for. Could you take a look and let me know when you'd be free to chat about next steps? And Kevin, yes, this video will be made available later. And then maybe we'll send a follow-up text that's just we'll just say, I don't know, P.S. working on interviewing a few loan officers this week to get pre-approved. And this is helpful for agents to know that we're talking with lenders and working through this stage, because it helps them know that you're serious about this. Agents talk to a lot of people who really aren't that interested in buying. And so as an agent, when they're working with so many texts coming in and everything like that, they're trying to prioritize, like, who do I talk to first? Like, who should I prioritize? And so by kind of giving this information, saying like, we're not demanding their attention now. We're saying, hey, just sent you an email, has more information, just want to give you my phone number so you have it. Let me know a time that works for you that we can chat. That kind of puts the ball in their court. And then we're also working on, getting pre-approved. That way they know that we're serious about this here. Okay, so that would be a really solid text to send. And what we're going to do is we'll send these to both of those real estate agents. Again, we'll send them at the same time that we send the email. So we'll send both. And then when we end up talking to them on our phone call, what we're going to do is we're going to let them know we're interviewing. So we're just gonna, on our phone call, when we do schedule that with them, when they say they're ready, we'll just say, hey, we've been talking to a couple agents, and we're gonna make a decision on Friday on who we're gonna work with, but just want to chat about some next steps with you. Having that transparency is going to be really, really effective, and let them know what to expect here. My keyboard doesn't have any letters on it. They're like on the side, which it's cool in daylight, but sometimes when I need to see what's going on, I can't actually see my keyboard. So we need to let them know we're interviewing. We need to ask questions that we found in the and research. So, if we had questions about something, for instance, Joseph, we know we need to ask this question about Florida versus New York market. But as you see these people, as you do some research, you're probably going to come into more questions that you have that their profile tends to spark. And that's where we want to ask them, is on that phone call here. And then what we're really looking for here on the phone call is someone who has the heart of a teacher. And what that means is somebody who is willing to answer any and all of our questions. Okay, so I don't think it's good to necessarily just have, I don't want to give you like, here's 10 questions to ask. I think that could be helpful, but it doesn't help us give a ton of information if we're just reading off a list of questions. Really, any question that you have is on the table. It's fair game. And so by asking those questions, you're going to be able to see, does this person have the willingness to teach me through the process? That's going to help me choose who I want to work with. Okay, so it's mainly going to come down to this thing here. Because at the end of your phone call with both of these realtors, you're going to get a better idea of, is this somebody I want to work with because I feel more comfortable with them? And if so, fantastic here. We already did the vetting of like, are they qualified on paper, right? They have solid reviews. We know they do a lot of work. They're in our area. On paper, they work. We don't really need to ask more questions about, tell me about your experience as an agent. What experience do you have? How good are you at your job? At this point, we want to know, are they going to help us walk through the next steps of the process here? Nandy just said, she said, I love credit unions. I'm doing a mortgage loan, 100% financing, no PMI, no down payment. Let me throw this up on the screen. No down payment, interest rates a little bit higher, sellers doing 6,000 closing costs. Learned it from me. Awesome, cool. Well, that sounds like an awesome deal, and congratulations there. I don't know, have you closed that yet, or are you in the middle of that process? I'd be interested to hear. Okay, email. So we did text. In our email, we want this to be a little bit longer, but we don't have to go this big long thing, right? We just wanted to say enough to have them understand a general idea of who they might be working with here. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Hey, first name, because emails are formal for some reason. I don't know. And let's kind of outline this a little bit. In emails, I'm a big fan of like bullet points of things that are a little bit easier to scan and read than these big long texts. So let's go ahead and we'll define some things here. I know we're going to put in our wish list, price points, neighborhood, beds, bath. I don't know specific neighborhoods in Jacksonville, so I'm just going to say example. Price points, if you don't know, it's perfectly fine. We're going to do $250 to $300. And I just think this is like good courtesy when sending anybody information, is like have the empathy of the reader, right? How are they going to perceive the information that we're sending to them? And so that I like to put things in bullet points here so it's quick and easy to scan. So we'll also do not pre-approved yet, but deciding on lender by this Friday. Cool, we got those in. And you can see, like, I don't have this pre-made. This is just kind of off the top of my head. This is kind of what I would do as I'm constructing this. So feel free to add and remove things as you want to in here. So we'll say, hey, first name, I'm gonna take out this gap. About me, price point. I'm also going to do timeline of within 3 months. bath, we're gonna do 3 and 2. And then here in our wish list, it's gonna be really good for you to start getting a general idea of what you're looking for and communicate that with your realtor up front so they can get a better idea. Because from just this quick list, they're gonna be able to see, okay, you're not pre-approved yet, but here's your price point, here's how soon you're looking, here's a neighborhood, here's what home beds and baths you want, and then also some features that you want in a home. And they're already probably going to be able to start sending you homes maybe before you even get on a phone call with them. So wish list, we're going to say, let's see, we're in Jacksonville, so maybe I want a pool. What else? I want large backyards. We're going to say move in ready. What else do we want? 2-car garage minimum. We'll stop there. You know, you could add your whole laundry list of what you're looking for here, but try to stick to the basics. Then what we're going to do is ask kind of one final question here. When works for you to set up a call to go over the next steps? Actually, right before that, I'm going to say, agents to hire. Cool. So we let them know that we're shopping here, and I haven't been paying attention over here. Nadine, you said you're in the middle of the process of doing this loan. Just ordered appraisal today, Christmas Eve, got my conditional approval. Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a fantastic Christmas present. Well, it's a good and bad Christmas present because it's good news, but I'm sure the conditional approval probably has a little bit of work that you have to do in it, because most of them require just a touch more. So that's fantastic. Definitely keep me updated on what goes on there. So you know, if you have your approval and you ordered your appraisal today, you're on a fantastic path. You're probably about halfway done. So wishing for good news on that appraisal, and then you should be getting wrapped up here soon, it looks like. So you know, keep it up. Okay, so we put in here, I'm talking with a couple of real estate agents, would like to decide on an agent to hire by the end of this week. When it works for you to set up a call to go over the next steps. And then we're going to say, missed. Cool. So this is the email that I would send here. I'm going to keep it paused here for a second. You know, and feel free to, you can pause the video, and this is going to be up later so you can copy and paste this and do whatever you'd like. So we're going to send this email and this text to both of those agents, and then when we hop on a phone call with them, you can see that, you know, we led each of the phone call and the text to something, right? We asked, we created the action that we're looking for. We want to hop on a phone call. So once we get on that phone call, here is what we're going to be talking about. Cool. How's everyone feeling so far? We feeling good? We feeling bad? Bored? Not so bored? How are we feeling here? I'm going to jump over to the comments real quick, and then we're going to talk through contacting a loan officer. Colandra, you said, I'm in the credit building stage. That's awesome. Like, the fact that you're there and the fact that you're here is super good, because a lot of people, you know, if they're in a position where they're not ready to buy, sometimes they just give up and they throw in the towel, and then it kind of turns into this like, woe is me kind of attitude. So the fact that you're here is fantastic. Don't be down on yourself because of it. And frankly, now's not even a great time to purchase, right? We're probably going to see prices dip down here in the next, who knows how long, but hopefully next 2 years, somewhere around there. So if you need a little bit extra time, that's perfectly okay, right? All of this buying process and everything in life is just taking steps in the right direction. We all have different points that we're at, right, in this grand playing field of life. So just take it a step at a time. It's perfectly okay. I know it can be really discouraging when you see other people who are, they're celebrating being under contract and getting homes, and you're thinking, oh, everyone's doing this stuff, and I'm kind of sitting over here. And it's easy to forget that most of the information that you're going to see is either extremely positive or extremely negative. There's not a lot of people in your situation who are going to be saying that stuff online publicly, right? So it can be easy to compare our lives with a highlight reel of everything else that we're seeing, especially when it's on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So take it a step at a time. You're doing fantastic, especially the fact that you're on here at it's at least 9 here in Ohio. Working through these steps is incredible, right? That tells me a lot about who you are as a person and what you're looking to do moving forward. Okay. Let's jump over to talking to a loan officer. Maine Thomas, who said, I feel informed, one bright light, I feel like I gained a lot of info. Cool. Ryan Barker, thumbs up. Some of these YouTube names are hard to read. Twisted Dread Queen. Oh, Twisted Dread Queen. It's all in different letters. Thumbs up. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Cool. Okay, so now let's talk to a loan officer. And again, we're going to send the email, text, and phone all to all three. And let's try to do these all on the same night. So, let's send all this contact out to the realtor and to the loan officers all in one night. Let's just knock it out, right? We have pre-made text templates. This shouldn't take us a ton of work. We're doing all the work right here so that you can go take it, apply it to your situation, and knock them out. Cool. Is it Kikai? Happy Home said 4 p.m. here, multitasking, cooking dinner. Ooh, what's for dinner? I'd take some dinner right now. A second dinner, at least. Okay, well, let's start with text first. Text is the easiest. We're going to do the same thing, basically. Hey, first name. Honestly, let's just take what we sent to the realtor. There's no need to make it, they're not going to know. They're not going to talk to each other about, what text did you get from Kyle? Hey, first name, this is Kyle. I've been looking to buy a home soon, just saw your profile online. Just send you an email with a bit more of what I'm looking for. Could you take a look? Let me know when you'd be free to chat about next steps. Let's do it. Let's copy that text. Let's not make our lives harder. Text templates for both. Wonderful. Knock that one out pretty quick. Email. Okay, let me go ahead and highlight some stuff that I know we're gonna need to cover. What is going on here? Monthly payments. We're gonna do this. Ideal monthly payment. Ideal down payments. Estimated credit score. I'll talk about these here in just a second. Okay. And we'll do basically the same stuff here. Hey, first name. We do. Just sent you a text. Why not? I've been to get pre-approved and to get full quotes as well. Profile. About next steps. Sorry, after doing this for an hour, my brain is like a little bit foggy. I'm like zoning out for a second. Just send text, currently interviewing a few loan officers to get pre-approved, get full quotes. Full quotes here is key. I want a lender who's actually going to give me an actual quote. Okay, I'll talk about that here in a second. Just came across your profile online. Would love to chat with you about next steps. Here's a bit more info about what I'm looking for. And we'll fill those in here in just a second. Ideally would like to decide and you can choose that date whenever you want, you know, by next 2 weeks or whatever. Ideally would like to decide on loan officer by this Friday. Could you let me know when you'd be free to chat and get the ball on a approval and quotes? Thanks. I'll go take care. It's fun writing a fake email. And 24 writer put in a good reminder. Don't forget, gently caress the like button. Gently. No smashing allowed here. We just do gentle caresses of the like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. And if you're new, let me know in the comments. I'd love to welcome you here. Did have a question. Somebody asked about credit repair. My Credit Guy is really good. Did have an interview with Sam, who's the owner of My Credit Guy. Fantastic guy. I don't get paid anything to talk about him, but I used to work with them a lot with my own clients, and they're like the only credit repair company that I've talked with that's actually helped clients close. I've seen clients work with a lot of different credit companies, and they never have brought a buyer to the closing table, except for My Credit Guy. Like, they've actually been able to get to the closing table. It's taken work still, right? It takes work to get there, but I think they do a fantastic job. Yeah, Brittany said a calming caress of the like button. Make sure you really listen to how it's feeling. Pay attention to what's going on. Ask it about its day. You know, that's going to be the best way to treat the like button here. So when we're talking with this loan officer, we're not going to put in purchase price because we mainly want to talk with the loan officer specifically more around our budget, around qualifying. And so we're going to talk about monthly payments. They'll be able to use that to help us figure out the purchase price. So for our ideal monthly payment, you know, if you don't know this, if you don't know your purchase price or monthly payment, you're just guessing. Take a guess. What's comfortable for you? You know, so maybe my ideal monthly payment is around $2,000, okay? And we'll put including taxes and insurance. Okay, ideal down payments, we're gonna say maybe as low as possible. I've been looking at conventional 3% down programs. Okay, so you can do that. Maybe you're a veteran. Maybe you're a veteran and you say like, here's a great place to say, hey, I'm a veteran, so I'm looking at VA loans, 0% down. I'm looking at USDA loans, 0% down, whatever there. Estimated credit score, we're gonna say Credit Karma. Says 7,000, 712. We'll put that in here. An ideal program, we'll put not sure. Whatever would provide the best interest rates without a crazy amount of costs. Cool. I think this would be really solid. This gives a loan officer a really solid idea of this here. Also, I do want to put in really quickly our timeline. I'm going to say wanting to buy within 3 months, but would like to get approved within the next week or so. Isn't English weird? Is it right to put so? So I'd like to get approved within the next week or so, so I can shop for some homes. Is that right? Is that how you actually say that? Comma after first so. That looks better. Wonderful, wonderful. I think that's going to be super solid. So we'll send this email over. We're going to send this, come on, bold. Bold. There we go. Now let's talk about what we're going to talk about on our phone call here. So, oh, yeah, I could put, yeah, Mike said you could just say within the next week or two. I could do that, but apparently I like to make things a little bit more difficult for myself. Cool, you said this video is the best video ever. Well, thanks. I went to a first-time homebuyer class and it was not this informative. First-time homebuyer classes usually aren't super informative. They don't give you they're mainly there as like a kind of like a legal protection. That's not even true. It's more like a due diligence on the lender's part. They want to, if somebody forecloses, they can say, well, we had them take a homebuyer course. So they're usually not super helpful, but they can be required to. So when we talk with this loan officer, we'll do the same thing that we did with the realtor. We're gonna let them know that we're interviewing. Okay. Same thing, ask questions we found in online research. We're looking for somebody who has the heart of a teacher. And then also, this one is important. We need a full quote. Okay, so when you talk with this loan officer, right, because our texts and our email are leading to the phone call. We're gonna have this conversation with them, talk about next steps and all of that as well. But you don't have to come in here and be this aggressive. You don't have to say, oh, we need a full quote, specifically Section 8 costs. But what I need you to ask these loan officers is, great, like let's get working on that pre-approval. Can you send me a quote with the rate and Section 8 costs? Because sometimes lenders will just quote your rate over the phone, or they'll send like half information. We don't want that. We want a full quote. We want to see everything. We don't want anything hidden, right? We want to see these full quotes. If a lender's not willing to give that to us, you have the power. You can say, hey, thanks for the approval, whatever, great talking to you. Can you go ahead and send me that quote when you get a chance? If you don't hear back from them, hey, haven't heard back, a couple other lenders gave us a quote. We're going to decide by Friday. So if we don't hear back from you, we'll go ahead and move on with those other lenders. We don't have to be mean. We're just going to spell it out what it is. Section 8 costs are the fees that the lender themselves charges. When lenders give you a quote, they're going to give you a quote of all of the home buying costs, all the closing costs, right? Not only the fees that they charge, but things like taxes and title and insurance. Those are all things that the lender themselves doesn't charge. So for instance, like if I'm giving somebody a quote, I'm going to show them everything, all of the closing costs, taxes and insurance and title fees and recording fees, things that I have no control over. But it would be, in my mind, unethical for me to just show somebody the fees that we charge as a company. Because it doesn't give you the full picture. It doesn't help you understand what the whole thing is going to look like. And some lenders do that. So you want to see the whole thing, but specifically you're interested in Section 8 costs because the lender is going to estimate your taxes and insurance. One lender might estimate a lot more in taxes than the other one. Doesn't mean that lender is more expensive. They just overestimated on taxes, right? No matter which lender you choose, your taxes are going to be the exact same. No matter which lender you choose, title is going to be the exact same. No matter which lender you choose, insurance is going to be the exact same because it's not chosen by the lender, but the lender normally is the one who has to give you the estimate for that. A couple other things that you want to ask in here. Expected turnaround time for pre-approval. I'll talk through this here in a second. Get started. That'll be working. So expected turnaround time for pre-approval. So I want to see, like, if I apply today. So we talked about these lenders had online applications. So if I said, hey Robert, I'm gonna go ahead and apply online. What's kind of the turnaround time? How long would you expect that I'll be able to see an approval come back? And ideally we want to see that within 2 to 4 days. It's going to be ideal for us. We don't want that to take super long. Okay, so we want to get an idea of how long after we send in this application can we expect to hear back. That way we don't just send it in and have unrealistic expectations. Also, who will I be working with? It's going to be directly with you, a processor. Because sometimes loan officers will have other people working for them, and so sometimes they'll work just with them, sometimes they'll do the quotes on pre-approval, and then you'll work with a processor through the rest of the approval. You just want to get a better idea of who are you going to be working with through the process. And it's not bad if they have a processor, right? Sometimes that could mean a really good thing. Maybe they have a really nice, well-oiled machine, a really good process. But we just want to know that up front. That way our expectations are set correctly. We don't want to anticipate just working with them and then we're like, who is this person? And if you feel like you just want to work with one person, then you know that maybe that's not a lender for you because you want to work with one individual specifically. And then how do I get started? So what's the next step? Cool, we had this conversation. You want to go ahead and apply with all 3 of these loan officers. Okay, you want to get quotes from all 3. That way you can take a look at them and see which one, and then make your choice. Within a week or 2 or whatever that looks like for you. So how do I get started? Are we doing an application over the phone? Are we doing an online application? What's going to work best here? And all of these loan officers had an online application. So, most likely what you can do is just say, hey, I saw your online application. I'll go ahead and fill that out. And then I'll expect to hear back from you within however many days they said it would take them. So, cool, we got this knocked out. Contacting a loan officer. One more section. This one's going to be pretty quick. So, how are we feeling? Have we made some progress? Good progress? Bad progress? I already got 2 thumbs down, so... so maybe some people disagreed, some people didn't appreciate it, but that's okay. Cool, Shannon, you said you make this much more empowering than scary. Awesome content. Well, thank you. I'm so glad to make this more, put the power back in the buyer's hands a little bit. One bright light, thank you so much. Cool, so we've made some really solid progress here. And what I'm gonna do is, let me see if I can do this real quick. I'm sorry, I'm thinking through in my head how I'm going to do this. I can share this link with you. Yeah, give me 1 second to think about how to do this correctly within Notion. Oh, wait. I'll actually go ahead and share this link with you here in the description. Give me just 1 second. I want to make a page called, oh wait, you know what? There we go. Share. Copy link. Let me open up another browser to make sure this works. Oh, did it not work? Come on. I gotta press the right button, I guess. Copy link. There we go. Cool. All right. I just posted the link to this. Why didn't I do this earlier? I just posted the link to this in the live chat, okay? And I am going to post it in the description right now, or else I'll forget about it. And that way you can just go and copy and paste if you'd like to. Link to documents. Right. Man, why didn't I do that earlier? So the cool thing is it's actually going to live update as we're going through this here. So let me hop back over. Okay, so now you'll have this. You're not going to be able to edit it, but you'll at least be able to like copy and paste and kind of see, you know, you're not going to have to pause the video and do all that jazz, all that stuff there. So finally, let's talk about setting up a Google Drive, because as we're going through this pre-approval process with these lenders, eventually they're going to ask us for some documents, okay? So what I want you to do, you're going to need a Google account. It's free. Go to drive.google.com, okay? Hello? Why is it not going heading 1? There we go. All right, so we're going to go to drive.google.com, all right? And this is where we're going to set up an account. Create 2 folders. I'm just going to say loan documents. Okay, so drive.google.com, we're going to first set up an account if you don't already have one. If you have a Gmail, then you already have a Google account here, all free and all that jazz. Next, we're going to set up 2 folders here, a public one and a private one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click new folder. I'm going to call this, I already have a home buying one. I'm going to call it home buying 2. Okay, so now that we're in here, I'm going to create another folder. We're going to call this public. And in our public folder, what we're going to have in here mainly are things like quotes and miscellaneous, I don't know how to spell miscellaneous, miscellaneous documents. Okay, so that's in our public folder. Then we're going to create another folder called private. And this is where we're going to share things like pay stubs, ID, bank statements, and the following. Okay, so this is what we're going to share with the lender, and this is just going to be for keeping, you know, general record keeping of the process. So in the private folder, so we did these 2 steps, public, private. Now we need to add our loan documents. So for sending stuff to a loan officer, we need to have some documents to put in here. Now I don't have, I'm not going to actually put in like real income documents. Come on, pages, let's open up. So I'm just going to create fake ones here. You know, and in your situation, what you would actually be doing is, you know, uploading your real documents in here. So you may need to talk with your HR or whoever does your accounting to get things like pay stubs and things like that. So we're going to say this is a pay stub. And these are going to be the general documents that most people are going to need here, okay? W-2, and we're actually going to need 2, so we're going to need 2019 W-2 and 2018 W-2. ID, pay stub is going to be past 30 days pay stub, past 2 months bank statements. Now, you know, if you're self-employed, you'll you'll need tax returns instead of your W-2 here. And And what we're going to do just for, just for clarity's sake, is we're going to do 2018 and 2019 1040s, which are our tax return. And having all of these is going to be a really solid foundation for your loan officer. They might not need all that information, right? If you're doing like a conventional loan program with a high credit score, all they'll need is like a past year W-2. But since we don't know specifically the type of loan program we're looking for right now, we want to give the loan officer as much information as they need to help us qualify, right? The loan officer is the one who's going to be helping you, and they're gonna be the gap between you and the underwriter. So don't be afraid to put, you can't overshare information to your loan officer. They're there to help guide you through the process. So if we're doing 30 days pay stubs, our IDs, so something like a driver's license, past 2 years W-2s, past 2 years tax returns, and bank statements, that's going to give them most of the information that they need here. Now, if you have some other, niche scenarios, niche, whatever, maybe you have child support income documents, a divorce decree, maybe you have pension statements, or you have a 401k, all that other stuff, you're welcome to add that in there. Again, the more information that you have about your income and your assets, that's going to be more helpful for your loan officer to help qualify you and not have to ask for more information here. So then this is private here. What we're going to do to share this is right click, and we're going to click share. And then what we can do is we're not going to copy the link here. We want to try to make this as secure as possible. We don't want to just send this link out because anybody who has it can use it. So what we can do is we can actually add our loan officer's email in here. Okay, we can copy and paste their email to get access to this. Okay, and you might want to send a heads up text to your loan officer. Hey, just sent you over a Google Drive link to all my documents. Then over here in public, let's say we get a quote, lender a quote. We're going to do lender B quotes. When we get those, we can put them in here, and that's just going to help us kind of keep track. Where'd lender B quote go? Oh, there it is. That's going to help us keep track as we go through the process. That we don't store documents all over the place. Keep them in an organized manner, and we want to keep these a little bit separate because this is going to allow us to put in whatever home buying documents we need that you run into along the process. So we don't need to share all these quotes and everything with the loan officer that we're talking to. We're just going to have this private folder over here. So they'll have access to only the things in this folder as we go through that process. Okay? We're all done. We are all done. Take a deep breath, stretch out a little bit, get a nice stretch going on. All right, so how's everyone feeling about what we just did? Obviously, when you do this on your own, it's going to go a lot quicker. It's not going to take an hour and a half. We covered a lot, okay? So what we'll move into here in just a second is just kind of a general Q&A after I go grab some tea. And I got all these little, don't you hate when these little things, what is it called, like a little pill up on your jacket? Cool, Brittany said, great info. James, great breakdown. Well laid out and explicit. Yep, and this is going to be available later for you to rewatch and everything as well. So you can do that. Cool, I think I had a question here. We're going to jump into Q&A. What question do we have here? Okay, so we're going to jump into general Q&A, and I'm going to do it for about 30 minutes. So what I need to do is I'm going to go refill some tea, and give my what is it called? My voice a little bit of a break for a second, and then we are going to just do general Q&A here. Okay. So, in the meantime, I know somebody said you tried to text a wish list and it didn't go through. So it's wait list, not wish list. Did I type wish list? Is that what I did? If so, that's my fault. Okay, yeah, it's waitlist. So if you want to, you can text hashtag waitlist to 937-358-6542. That does come into my phone. I'll take a look at those here in just a second, but my computer is not working with me right now. come, come on, switch back, switch back. There we go. And if you want to be signed up to that Calm Buying Planner when it's live, you can also ask me general questions on there. I can't do like really detailed scenarios that take more time and everything. And it is my number, so it will auto text you in the beginning to go through all the compliance legal stuff. And then from there on, it is me. So what I'm going to do, go grab some tea, go ahead and put some questions in the comments in the live chat. Feel free to text me too. I'll have those open here on my phone. And then I'll be back. Give me about 3 to 5 minutes. Cool? All right. See you in a sec. Hello. How long was that? Was that 3 minutes? Cool. So we'll jump into some Q&A here in just a second. Cool. So we got some people who joined the wait list. I'm looking here at my phone. Just to show you this is. Oh wait, you can't even see. Bing. Focus. There we go. We got Angelica, Ashland, Teresa, Pablo all joined the waitlist, which is awesome. Let me see here. See some questions. So Pablo said, found you from Javier Vidania's live stream. Javier Vidania is an awesome guy. Said, I've heard that if you save 20% down on a conventional loan, then consider saving 25% because of a lower interest rate. Is this valid, and how much of a benefit have you seen from this? So it is possible. It depends on the loan program and the loan size. Sometimes the down payment can shift. Can shift your interest rate that you get. So what I think it's good to do is get quotes for both 20% down and 25% down, and compare. So if you get the same rate for both, or a better example would be if you got a lower rate on 20% down than 25% down, then I do 20% down, then take the extra 5% and put it on the first payment. So that's what I would do. It's always good to get quotes for those different down payments to see what options you have available. And I'll text them back. Just mentioned this in the live stream. Okay, there it is on top of my face. Veronica, you asked, what are the differences between interest rates and APR? So APR is just another way to talk about the total finance charge. The interest rate is just the specific rate at which money is being paid back on the loan itself. APR includes all the other costs. So it includes mortgage insurance, any finance costs. It includes upfront fees that you would be paying. So an APR is just another way to explain how money is being spent with that loan. So both are really good indicators. If you're looking at two loans with the exact same interest rate and one has a higher APR, you know that more expensive APR loan is going to have higher costs associated with it somehow. Either the mortgage insurance is more expensive, or you have upfront costs that are more expensive there. Handy Crafty Life, you said, I just want to say I discovered you a month or two ago and appreciate the info you provide. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you are here on this live stream and joining us and asking some questions here. In your experience, what major banks generally have lower lender loan fees? Which ones are generally more expensive? Honestly, I don't know. I would tend to stay away from banks. Just in general, banks tend to have higher costs than a credit union or a broker would. However, it's always good to get quotes from, again, I suggest getting quotes from all three. But as far as specific banks, I'm not sure what the cost differences are between all of those. Creatine is the best tea. Creatine, like the protein? Is that a protein powder? Isn't that what it is? Try and get swole over here. I did go to the gym the other day and I ran for like 10 minutes, almost threw up. It's probably because I ate Chipotle like 5 minutes before, but what are they looking for in a bank statement? I have 3 accounts. Can I show them 1? Yeah, you only have to show the minimum needed. So to show that you have the funds for closing. So if total brought to closing is you need $10,000, but you have 4 bank accounts, all you need to do is show them as many bank accounts as is needed to get up to $10,000. Mainly what they're looking for in the bank statement is they want to see past 2 months most of the time to make sure that it's coming from an acceptable source. And what that means is typically they don't want it to be borrowed. So they want to see, it's your own money. You're not borrowing it from somewhere else. And there's also laws like the Patriot Act causes them to have to look at large deposits and make sure there's no money laundering or terrorism activity because of large deposits. It's a quite an overreach on the Patriot Act's part, but that's where we're at. Can the down payment be 100% gifted? Yes. It does need to come from a family member, but yes, can be 100% gifted. Yeah, and Twisted Drag Queen, you said Chipotle for the win. And I think you texted me here just a second ago. Dolly said this was really good. Awesome. I'm so glad that you liked it here. And again, this is going to be recorded, so you'll be able to go back and see what's going on. Cool. Shell's Mike summed it up real nice. APR is the annual cost of a loan to a borrower, including fees. Like an interest rate, the APR is expressed as a percentage. Unlike an interest rate, however, it includes other charges or fees. Do loan officers usually recommend real estate agents? Is it better to work with agents and loan officers that usually work together? Yeah, loan officers normally do have agents that they typically work with. Most of the time in real estate, you have lenders and realtors tend to work in like relationships, and they can't be financially beneficial relationships. That crosses some legal borders. Legal borders? Is that what I'm looking for? Crosses some laws and ethical boundaries. But what's really helpful when your loan officer and realtor work together, because there's so much collaboration that needs to happen in the process. And when things are running smoothly, when there's no hiccups through the home buying process, that's not really a huge deal. There's not a ton of benefit of them working together. But when stuff does go wrong, or if it does go wrong, which there tends to be hiccups in almost every deal, which is fine. We work through them. They're just little roadblocks. It's helpful when there's a good working relationship and they can work together on things. That way, there's not extra frustration and stress added because these two people who are moving the deal forward for the most part aren't familiar with working with each other, or there's conflict created because they have different working styles. So it's not necessary, but it is helpful to get benefit if they do work together. I'm looking at homes in 2 states. Will I need to get separate approvals, or does it matter? Yes, so you'll need to get approval in each of those states. That way, and you'll need to get from a lender that's qualified in those states, or I'm sorry, licensed in those states. So, if you're working with a lender who's licensed in both states, then that approval will work for both. That's perfectly fine. But if your lender is only licensed in one state, then you need to get a lender license in the other state to help you with that. Navy Federal wants me to verify large deposits made in the last 2 months as a condition. They want to give an explanation of large deposits. What's considered large? Great question. So typically in most guidelines, it's going to be 50% or more of qualifying monthly income. So if you make $5,000 a month, then a large deposit technically would be $2,500 or more as a single deposit. However, it's 100% up to the underwriter's discretion, and I've rarely ever seen an underwriter follow those rules. They try to err more on the side of caution. So I've seen some underwriters flag $500. And it depends on income, right? But sometimes they'll just ask for an explanation of whatever they think is out of the ordinary. They're allowed to ask about. So it can be frustrating because there's so many times I've talked with underwriters and been like, it literally right here is in the guidelines saying 50% or more of qualifying monthly income, and they'll just come back and say, yeah, that's what it says, but we can choose, we can do whatever we want under our own discretion, which is frustrating. But large ultimately is going to be decided by the lender. How much is too much down payment to put down percentage-wise, or is there a limit really? There's no limit. Most likely what you'll find is, going above 20% probably won't see a huge benefit, especially in terms of interest rate. What I would suggest is look at a couple couple down payment brackets to see if that changes your interest rate. But what I would do personally, like let's say you were looking to do 30% down. I would actually do 20% down to get rid of the mortgage insurance, and then put the additional 10% on the first payment. That's going to shrink the life of your loan and actually be more cost effective than if you put all of the 30% as the down payment. Because you're shortening the life of that loan, you're going to be paying less interest total. What will the planner include and how much will it cost? So right now, my goal for 2021 is to ship out 4 things in the planner. And I'm going to include a bunch more as we go. Number 1 thing is going to be a fully built task list, fully built to-do list. So everything from the very beginning of like planning your budgeting for a home all the way till the very end of the process, like changing batteries and smoke detectors. So full step-by-step task list, so you don't really have to guess like, what do I do next? It's basically going to take this whole video that we've been doing and it lists out step-by-step for what to do. The second thing is going to be a loan comparison calculator, so you can plug in the numbers from quotes that you get from lenders, and then it's going to tell you this is the cheapest loan option. That way you don't have to try to decipher all of that. As far as cost, I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like right now. I imagine it's going to be under 100. I'm seeing people who are putting out like home buying courses for like several $100s, which I think is a little insane, especially because it's a course. Like a course is not super helpful. Like you can go through a ton of information. It doesn't give you actionable things. So I'm not doing a course. I'm doing it step by step. I want things to be actually actionable. So I imagine it'll probably be around under $100. And then everybody who's on that wait list, I'm going to give a pretty nice discount too, because I want people to be able to jump on there and test it and give me feedback. That way I can kind of work on improving it as it goes. And I'm also open to like any suggestions that you have as far as pricing. Whatever you think is too low, too high, feel free to comment that. What's your opinion on the Ron LeGrand real estate teaching of the pretty house method? I honestly have no idea what that is. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I can kind of jump back around to that. What's the recommended time frame to get an approval and buying? Ideally, you'd want to get approved, like pre-approved. It'd be nice to get approved like maybe a month before you put in an offer. That way, you have some sufficient time to sit with the potential gravity of the decision. That way you're not making an emotional choice. You're going to be really solid on why you're making that home purchase. Did USDA run out of money for guaranteed loans? Pretty much at the beginning of every year. They don't have their funding secured yet. And this is normally like a 2-week thing. So after that, they normally get their funding and it's fine. So most likely, if you're looking at USDA, it's probably not going to be funded within the first 2 weeks to first month of 2021. And this is all up to the lender, right? The lender can close the loan as a USDA loan and then choose to take the risk of it not being insured by USDA. It's all going to be up to the lender. Most lenders probably won't. They'll want to wait for that funding to be available if they do close it. So I wouldn't anticipate closing on a USDA loan within January of 2021. You'll probably need to wait for that funding to kick in maybe midway through January or February before you look at closing USDA. You can still apply and get under contract. You'll just need to wait until that funding happens. As a self-employed individual, should we pay ourselves on payroll as an employee to make the home buying process easier? Paying yourself as an employee doesn't necessarily make it easier in the home buying process, but as far as like taxes go, it's going to be a better question for an accountant. Let them know your goals with what you're trying to do with home buying, and they'll be able to help you set that up in a better way. I can't really give tax advice without, I'm sure, getting in some legal trouble. So you reach out to an agent before a loan officer. You can reach out to them both at the same time. I think that's a really good plan. But you can kind of go in whatever order you want. Most agents will want you to be pre-approved or beginning the process of working with a loan officer before they'll start showing you houses. I'm talking to this realtor. She keeps telling me 620 for FHA, 640 for USDA is the minimum. My score is 580. Can I still qualify, or are these the new COVID norms? So it's entirely lender dependent. Super frustrating to me when people tell other people, like, I've seen lenders on YouTube who are saying like minimum for USDA is 640, minimum for FHA is 680 or whatever. It's like, no, that's your company. That's your company, not what the actual minimum is. Minimum for FHA is still 500. Minimum for USDA is still 500. The lenders, independent lenders, can decide what they want to artificially raise those minimums to. So if one lender doesn't do the score that you want, you can shop with another lender. There are lenders still going down to a 500 credit score on FHA and USDA. How common is it for the buyer to talk to the loan processor? Extremely common. If you do have a processor on your loan, you're most likely going to be talking to them some point through the process. They're going to be the one to kind of collect documents and help you get to the closing table. My car loan has 6 payments left. Will that payment automatically be removed from my DTI, or do I have to request it? It will be automatically removed from your DTI. If you have 10 payments or less on an installment loan, keep in mind that this is not for a car lease. This is only for a car loan, because the assumption with a lease is like you're not going to have a car at the end of a lease, right? You have to get another loan or purchase a car somewhere. So only for car loans, if you have an installment loan with 10 payments or less, that's going to be automatically removed from your debt-to-income ratio. In the event I purchase a home using a USDA loan, on average, how long do I need to have the loan before I can refinance for a conventional mortgage? There's no waiting period of time. You can do it literally the day after closing if you want to. However, you need to have the equity required for that refinance, which is going to be a minimum of 3 to 5% for a conventional loan. So have that in equity to be able to refinance into conventional. Okay, so you said flaky house, pretty house, homely house? I have no idea what that is. Let me look that up. Ron LeGrand. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. I'll look that up and maybe I can kind of circle back to it later. Wonderful. Well, we're coming up. Well, I guess we've hit 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head out and I'm going to go spend some time with my kitty cat because I just adopted a cat. If you don't follow me on Instagram, then that's okay. But I do have an Instagram if you want to, I don't know, be involved in my personal life. Yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. This recording is going to be made available. You're welcome to shoot me a text. It's on like the channel art of this channel. If you have questions, if you want to be added to that waitlist, just text #waitlist. And I will see you all. Let's see. What do we got coming up here? Tuesday at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, that's not right. Thursday is New Year's Eve, so let's skip New Year's Eve. Don't drink too much, okay? No, I got you all. You guys are gonna make me blush if you keep saying these things in the comments. Let's do a live next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And bring your questions. I'll see if we'll maybe do something themed. Really quick, would you rather the lives be entirely Q&A, or is it helpful for them to be these kind of more in-depth walkthroughs? Because my thought was like, the live streams give us a little bit more time to dig into these things. Where like, you know, it would be difficult for me to do an entire, you know, hour and a half of you know, recording something like this. So I thought, you know, maybe we could kind of dive into some of these things a little bit longer and then do a question and answer later. But if that's not what you're looking for, then we don't have to do that. So let me know. So looks like one bright light you said, like the mix you did. Cool. I think the mix is going to be solid. It's going to give us some opportunity to dig into some stuff a little bit more that just isn't available, I think, that I've seen other places. So you'll have a lovely night. I'll see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Talk to you soon.